This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, April 26th, left at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Reverse Aging Health call with special guest at 9 p.m. Eastern Friday. Who and what you truly are will never, ever die. You are a vast, limitless, divine light of brilliant consciousness. You are a free soul without any boundaries. You are not limited by thoughts, beliefs, or feelings. You are that which is eternal. Relax. There is truly no end to this journey. When I let go of who I am, I become what I might be. Lao Tzu. The exploration of who I am, who am I, is one of the most powerful life-transforming questions we can sit with. It is infinitely deep, always changing, and takes you on an inner journey that will provide spiritual sustenance throughout your entire life. The question is revealing and deceiving at the same time, because it has no solid, real answer to it. We think we have found the answer one week, and then something new happens where we must admit there is yet another part of ourselves we didn't previously see. The path of self-inquiry is endless, mysterious, and is a method to find true meaning, healing, and freedom in this life. We are all seeking some form of liberation in this world because we have created a prison around ourselves to break free from. The prison is all in the mind. Once we understand what the walls of our inner jail are made of, belief systems and thought structures, we can dig our way out. The seemingly solid bars around us are ephemeral, metal, emotional patterns, mental emotional patterns that define who we are and what we are not. The good news is that these personal beliefs formed about ourselves are highly malleable and will change when we are willing to see them for what they are. Our beliefs are powerful. They extend an imposed version of reality out into the world, forming an imaginary construct upon the blank canvas of the universe, molding the all-intelligent creative energy that surrounds us is then reflected back to us. The reality we see each day shows up in the type of emotional sunglasses we are wearing. Our personal belief systems create a certain filter, giving life a specific texture, shade, and continuity to color how we see everything in our world, as well as the end of the day experience of who we are. To unravel oneself is one of the most amazing, juicy explorations we can have in this life. Its process of perceiving, accepting, honoring, and releasing each belief we hold about ourselves to be true and not so true. If you stop to think about what beliefs you have about you, you might start wondering, where did this belief about myself come from? How does it happen that we start defining who we are and who we are not. Why do we believe these thoughts about ourselves, even if they are not serving us and enslaving us? These are questions I invite you to sit with and see where they lead you. Remember, it's a perpetual unwrapping of the infinite mystery. And the answers are not as important as to what the question awakens within your consciousness. To perpetually drop into the root of one's core source of consciousness is the final goal of this journey. It's not a one-time shot, yet a continual and eternal falling and rising into the ecstasy of your being. Your soul is always here, awaiting for you to accept its presence at the core of you. It is ready to receive you, love you, serve you, and create the most miraculous manifestations for you. Simply surrendering to your core experience of yourself for even 5 long, deep breaths can be enough to tap into it. This soul-touching experience allows all your best traits and love to shine forth upon the lives of everyone around you all day long. The normal self is the mind. The mind is with limitations. But pure consciousness is beyond limitations and is reached by investigation into the I for Maharishi. Initially, intentionally discovering the source of our being, your being, is not always an easy task, as the ego is very strong. The prison walls of the mind are thick and doesn't believe we always have access to an infinite source of bliss all the time. The ego becomes very embarrassed, ashamed, and feels stupid for missing this, and thus feels that there must be some massive mountain to climb and overcome to reach heaven here now. Yet, the more we struggle and let the mind run the show, the stronger and more real the ego and its fabricated system of beliefs becomes. We must choose to dig deeper inside to find the real path to freedom, which is super magical, amazingly powerful, and able to walk right through these prison walls. All the beliefs of the mind must be perceived all the way through if we are ever to find liberation from its imposing structure. You must see and experience each specific belief for what it is, merge with it, dissolve into it, until there is nothing left of the belief or ourselves. When it comes down to it, the experience of finding freedom from the ego is actually quite simple. It's all about opening up to the most relaxed and non-efforting approach to this life you can imagine. We must choose to surrender all efforting if we truly want to arrive. It is only through trusting in this deep, sweet let go that we find the timeless, spacious, vastly deep connection with the divine. When we finally give up our inner battle, we realize how futile all of our past efforts have been and what little power our belief system actually has over us. When we discover how deeply cherished and lovable we truly are, we stop being consumed with the outer and fall into the infinite mystery of the inner. This is the only place where absolute freedom can be discovered. In some cases, it is found that how we judge, label, and define others says a lot more about ourselves than about them. Our labels darken our sunglasses, blocking the full spectrum of colors from the divine to shine through and touch our souls. When you start digging into our own belief systems this week to see what's there, just notice how attached you are to them. They are the most powerful and personal things in this universe. They form every aspect of reality that you believe is true. Approach them with this awareness, and you can only find freedom from them along the way. Everything that irritates us about others can lead to a better understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. So another challenge, another assignment to take on is to see where your beliefs came from. Notice what age-specific beliefs formed for you and how they were handed down from other people around you. All of our thoughts about ourselves come from the outer world in this lifetime or another. Who you are at the very core in pure innocence itself, free from all labels and beliefs entirely. You were simply covered up like a light bulb caked in mud by the beliefs of others imposed upon you. This realization in your innocent light nature is essential on the path to total freedom. The innocence is more personally intimate than any belief will ever be, and thus is why our entire lives are wrapped up in unraveling who we really are. Now, the next step towards transcending one's belief system excuse me, is understanding that we are not the enemy or something we need to get rid of. It is our resistance and need to control them which is the real enemy. Life becomes a more rich and juicy experience because we are wearing so many pairs of sunglasses and having to release so many layers of mud about who we are and what the world is about. If we never formed a belief at all, we would only see the divine throughout the entire life journey, and there would be no exciting purpose or deeper mission for coming to visit Earth. Our beliefs give us something to grind upon and push against, giving us direction, motivation, desire, and a sense of separateness from the source. This is essential so that one day we can dissolve through them, feel a sense of freedom, and return home. It is a fantastical journey, an outrageously creative invention of a use of time, mind, and energy of a soul. And here's a 3-step process. Write down all your major core beliefs about yourself, others in your life, in this world. This step is so that you clarify them and see what they actually are. Once you can see them, you can embrace them. So they're not just floating around the neuronal soup in the synapses of your brain. And step 2, realize that you created these beliefs. Take responsibility for each one, seeing perhaps who you stole it from, who shoved it down your brain, and why you eventually decided to adopt it. The key to this step is taking ownership without any sense of judgment of it being right or wrong. It is simply a belief, a thought structure, and that was formed about reality. And step 3, have an experience of believing in the belief, and then explore what it feels like to let it go. Have an experience of believing in the belief, and then explore what it feels like to let it go. This release is the final step towards complete and total liberation, and ultimately requires no action at all. It simply happens on its own accord when we drop into the infinite source of our awareness, pure consciousness itself. When we remain superconscious and aware with embracing this old precious belief experience, emerging happens that liberates us from the illusionary prison forever. Which is the real power? Is it to increase prosperity or bring about peace? That which results in peace is the highest perfection. Sri Ramana Rishi. When you have trouble identifying your core beliefs, remember that they are highly emotional and deeper than having subtle preferences about life. They are statements that say that this is the way life is and cannot be any other way. A preference tends to bend, while a belief will crack our very foundation if shaken. If all we had were preferences about ourselves in this life, it would be a much easier and more enjoyable ride. Yet the ego wants safety, security, and thus creates a firm, rigid structure about who we are and who we are not. These ideas create difficulty and an extra feeling of challenge in our relationships with work, money, intimate relationships, lifestyle, sex, physique, health, food, etc. The list goes on forever. Wherever you are challenged in this life, you have a rigid belief holding you down. The ideas you have about you have been there a very, very, very long time and may not budge very easily if you try to uproot them. This is the good news and the bad news. The trick here is to take ownership of the belief that is creating the problem, declare full responsibility for it, and then completely release all identification with it. The greater the freedom we experience, the deeper the challenge must be. When you see that you are created, you created every aspect of your identity and are no longer a victim on any level, you become empowered to become undefinable being, a soul who is multidimensional and constantly playing in the creativity of reality, however you wish it to be. This week is to approach this exploration of unraveling yourself in the most gentle, patient, and unconventional way. Don't try to fix anything you find. If you think something is broken, you're simply not seeing the gift or strength it's creating deeper within you. The tendency is for the mind to replace every negative self-esteem with a positive self-esteem, as that would be an unending, tiresome, slippery hill to climb. Because how the ego would like to be will never, ever, ever, ever be good enough. There is no use removing doubts one by one. If we clear one doubt, another doubt will arise, and there will be no end of doubts. But if by seeking the doubter is found to be really non-existent, then all doubts will cease. Ramana Maharishi. If by seeking the doubter is found to be really non-existent, then all doubts will cease. Now, my invitation here is much bigger than taking on a perpetual self-esteem project that is never fully satisfied with the end result. I want you to realize the truth of who you are. I want you to see this spiritual being inside you who is all-powerful, deeply, eternally loving, and free from all doubt, insecurity, and fear. From this space, there is no room for a belief structure to run the show and make life a struggle. In this enlightening approach, life takes on an entirely new dimension and becomes a truly magical experience. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted. And I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax these bodies that we're in. Now you look at the body, it's like a super magnetic sponge. It will pull in everything. Stress, fear, worry, anger, aggression, revenge, everything. It copies it, and it stores it where? Where do we store all this stuff? Subconscious mind. Vast resource library. So when you focus on your breath, easy and slowly in through the nose and easily and slowly out through the mouth, you leave the ego mind behind. You leave the ego mind behind and the subconscious mind behind. How do you do that? The breath. Only the breath. Listen to the breath. Focus on the breath. You're breathing all the time anyway, say. So you focus on the breath. Breath is divine positive energy. We gods enter these bodies, power them up, so to speak. Lungs start operating, everything comes online. And so we breathe oxygen, which sustains the body for us to stay in. It's all synergistic. It all works together. Now, in the now, right, when you step out of the ego mind and the subconscious mind, you're outside watching. All you're doing is watching. You're not judging. It's the only way you can master the ego mind, subconscious mind. Now, if someone would come up to you and say to you, what are you going to do tomorrow? You couldn't tell them. You really couldn't. What are you going to do an hour from now? You couldn't tell them. You couldn't. You see how it works? Now, obviously, we're all habitualized into this process of outside of ourselves. And eventually people will start figuring out that that's an exhausted direction, so we will go within. Now, at times, when we're in the now, we have a tendency to grab onto one of the clouds passing by. Thoughts. We put out about 60,000 plus thoughts a day out to the universe. And then there are all these programs that fly by us like clouds in the sky that are not ours. So they're programs. They're thoughts. I would call them programs. Tens of millions and billions of them. And they're not ours. Remember, every thought that you generate goes out to the universe. You send it out. You create it within, send it out. Thoughts that come in are not yours. They're tricky too, because they make you think they're yours, but they're not. Now, if you were to look inside your body, because you know you're not the body, you're not the character, you're not the personality, you're not the name, you're not your status. You're the God within the body. So every time you find yourself floating away, focus on the breath. You know this. You'll be in the now every single time, 3,000% of the time, which is every time. Now you look in the body and you see 7 lights, all different colors. They go from the tailbone to the top of the head. Now, are these real? Spirit etheric energy. Colors like you've never seen on this planet. And they're connected to every single aspect of that body that you're in. All the organs, all the blood flow, everything, right down to the quantum quark and beyond. And we flow constantly through these bodies. So eventually, discovering half of the journey with this understanding is that you acknowledge it. And eventually, you'll be able to heal that body you're in a blink of the eye. It is important that we stay in the deepest, 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 purest, 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 highest, 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 eternal gratitude. Also, to stay gentle, kind, generous, humble with ourselves at all times. Now, we know that each one of us is a God in the body. And some of us are consciously aware to the extent of understanding that you are God in the body. You're not the body. And that's becoming consciously aware, which means you know that you are of and from the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest eternal love. Now, all of a sudden, you find yourself standing in front of 3 paths. Okay? Now, you're in the center one, the now. You look to your left, you see the past. You look to your right, you see the future. Now, you look at these paths, and you see the trees have formed canopies over each path. And there are the gold shimmering leaves and bark and branches. The path itself is a brilliantly colored emerald green flaming grass. It looks like grass. Now, you notice the one you're standing on, one in the center, is the now, and it is absolutely pristine. Looks brand new. The one on the left, the past, it looks really worn. Same with the one on the right, the future. Looks really worn. Now, we all reminisce from time to time. You know, it could be a song, it could be taking a drive or walking somewhere or just out of the clear blue. And we experience that, we interact with it, and we enjoy it, and we savor it, and we visit it. And some things we visit to remind ourselves not to do the same thing identical that we did before. And we have fun. We have this, you look in the past, and we all go there, and, you know, so we'll go up there. We'll open the door, and we'll turn on a light. We'll walk in, and this room is so big. You look for walls, and you can't see them. You look for a ceiling, you can't see it. Massive. Everything's stored there. Past lives, futures lives, everything. Other people. It's all there. Your private library. So we'll go in there and we get a couple movies and a couple books, a couple pictures, and we sit in the easy chair and we watch some of the movies, read some of the books, and look at some of the pictures. We have fun. But we don't stay there. We'll put everything away, turn off the light, shut the door, and move forward in life. And on occasion, we'll go back and visit. It's a good reminder for us in some things, how to do things differently than we did then. But there are some people, I do not believe that it's conscious, I believe it's unconscious, that stay there so darn long that they end up taking the past, bringing it into a future that doesn't exist, creating that future from that past, and reliving that past and that future. This is why a lot of people will say, no matter what we do, we always seem to end up here. Now, all of us go in the future. You know why we go in the future? Why we seek out things ahead of ourselves? Because we get in a hurry. We get antsy. We get filled with anticipation and attachment. And it gets the best of us. And so we don't have answers. We don't believe we do. So we go into the future. We want to find someone or some way that we can be told what's going to happen in our future. We can be told through, astrological readings, tarot readings, cards, crystals, many different ways, palm reading, pendulums. And when you get to the point where you get an external authority, and the external authority says, hey, Jane, you're going to experience this, this, and this in 3 months. Really? Yeah. See the alignment of everything, and this is how you are, where you're at, and everything. So you got a lot to look forward to. Now, you believe it. That's a big boost because you'll manifest it. Others, you just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But when you manifest it, and it does come to be, you're blown away. You go, wow, this is phenomenal. It actually happened. Not knowing and correlating the fact that you manifested it. Where are all the answers? Where are they all at? Within, with the God that you are in that body. That's it. For all the answers to your questions are. Staying in the now is absolutely imperative. Practice, 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 practice. And when you float off in another thought, you can turn around and you can say, I'll focus on my breath and I'll be in the now. And you are every single time. Now, we know this, we have parts of ourselves that are consciously aware to a certain extent. We also have parts of ourselves that are just sound asleep. And they aren't going to wake up till they decide to wake up. Now, we deeply, eternally love them as much as we deeply, internally love the parts of ourselves that are consciously aware or awake. We're everywhere. We're everything. There's no separation. It doesn't matter if parts of ourselves are 9,000 billion light years away. We're one. We're always one. We always have been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. It's what we inhabit that gives us the impression that we're separate. That's how we learn. So our numbers in the Googleplex, one Googleplex fills this universe with not even 1 square inch of sacred space to spare. These are trillions of Googleplexes and trillions of different universes. We're focused on this planet for its complete liberation from lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. It's kind of like an elimination purging of all these lower dark matter goopy energies and frequencies. Completely, permanently. So we're in full compassion. Non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we're all one. And we're all love, and we're all God. And this includes the archangels, cherubim, seraphim, the archetypes, and masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Morya, Abundantia, Pel, Thoth, Yahweh, Yeshua, all the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, and beneath earth. All of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes we've inhabited. All the off-worlders, light energy beings, all the galactics, all the celestials. And knowing that we are all one. Together. One. And our God force, love, light, energy continues to intensify, grow, and expand. And all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Now we all immediately form a massive circle of white fire light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. Now this light emanates from the gods that we are within these bodies. Pure, deep, eternal love. Highest of the highest high vibrational frequencies. And it's saturating, flooding, permeating this planet head to toe, inside and out, above and below, with this pure, deep, eternal love. There's no escape from it. It's everywhere. Infinity and beyond. This light is so bright that it grays out the darkness of sacred space. It would take 1 billion trillion suns to even come close to its brightness. You could take all those suns and gather them all together and put this white fire circle of light, and all of those suns would pale in comparison to it. We begin to ascend above the planet. And as we do, we're immediately met with a golden, shimmering, multicolored, glittering ocean. It's nothing like you'd see on this planet. The best way we have to describe it is to take events that we've experienced on this planet, physicality, like a grand finale fireworks display, grand finale laser light show, and a massive ballroom mirrored globe that reflects all of the light shined upon it, floods the room. Except they're all much more intense, much larger. And what we do is we combine them all into one massive crescendo. And that takes us close to the description of the ocean of glitter. Now we're curious, and so we look at the ocean, and we look at all the reflective points, which are everywhere. And we notice that they're little tiny microscopic perfectly etched mirrors, and we enter them, we discover that all of us, no matter where we are one. And we're learning teaching from each other, learning from each other, back and forth, nonstop, infinity and beyond. And we inhabit different forms, different physical forms. So while we're in those physical forms experiencing that particular physical form, we teach others of us, other parts of us in other physical forms. So we learn. Think about this. All the martial arts ever to be on this planet, the core came from one being looking at how the animals around them defend themselves, both offensively and defensively. Came from the animals. other physical forms, God inhabiting, that information was learned. So we're always experiencing education, learning. Cat, dog, cow, horse, bug, fly, bird. For instance, you take a look at the tree, right? Now, you look at a tree, we've all been taught that that's separate. Look at all those trees over there. They're all separate. And that's the illusion. So how does that tree, what is it? It's a physical vessel for a God to enter and experience that physical form. Other gods inhabiting what? Elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, wood. And the elementals play a key role on helping the tree sustain itself, right? And we give the tree life, because everything is pure consciousness, working hand in hand. The tree breathes out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen, the vessels we're in. The tree breathes in carbon dioxide. We breathe out carbon dioxide. Everything is actually synergistically, but because of our illusion of separation, we don't see that. And many take thousands of lifetimes to discover it. And if you ever wanted to be in any physical form, I wonder what it's like to be that rock, or wonder what it'd be like to be that dog or that horse. You go into meditation, you focus on it with your breath, and for a brief moment you'll know exactly what it's like to be whatever it is that you were looking at to be. We're all learning. All of us. All the time. You don't think we don't learn from the archangels, the cherub and seraphim archetypes, or the galactics, or the celestials, or the off-worlders? Or all the light energy beings? We're always learning. We're always inhabiting some form to learn what it's like to be that form. Now, we continue to ascend above the planet. And we're immediately met with the emerald green flaming light of Archangel Raphael. This is a column of light that we created to remind ourselves, the gods that we are within these bodies, that we are the power of healing. We are then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all, the gods that we are within these bodies, of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. Then we're met with the white fire. This is a column of light that we created to remind all of us that inside and out, above and below, and around, we are protected with a white fire armor. This emanates from the gods that we are within the body, the pure, deep, eternal love, the pure consciousness. It is the highest high of vibrational frequencies. The highest. No lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. No demon possession, no attachments. Ever, ever, ever. Yet, only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency low enough, whether consciously or unconsciously, through hatred, anger, greed, fear, revenge, envy, hurriedness, worry, stress, fear, anxiety, you will create a breach in your white fire armor. Enough so to allow lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies come flooding in. And then there's possibilities of demon possession, attachments, and other things. Now, if you do decide to do this, you're immediately met with a double column of light. First part of this column we created to remind us all that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame, transmute all these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are, no more. And we're met with the second part of this column of light, the violet ray. We created this part of the column of light to remind us all that we can bring in the violet ray right behind the purple transmuting flame, cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We are then met with the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all, the gods that we are within these bodies, that we are the sun, the sunlight, the rain and the rainbows, sun sets and the sun rises, oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, trees, forests, soils, skies, clouds. We're everything. Everything is us. Always has been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. When you look at something now and you say, that's beautiful, it is, because it's you, the God that you are in that body. And you will come to the realization when you see something like a mountain view, a sunset, a sunrise, an ocean front, starlit night sky, you'll say to yourself, that's the God that I am, through your heart mind, not the ego mind. But through the heart mind, you'll say, that is the God that I am. And it is. We continue to ascend above the planet. And some of us decide to step outside our physical forms if we're carrying physical forms and hover effortlessly above them. The reason we do this is because it's really fun, and we can. We come into full contact with this massive crystalline light tower. We all created this tower, larger than the solar system and beyond. In the center of the column of the tower, we see this massive oblong sphere. And in the center of the sphere, we see this golden white ball of light. In turn, it is surrounded by numerous multicolored rings of light that seem to go to infinity and beyond. And we discovered that the golden white ball of light is the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And all of this is creating this super bright white misty cloud, sparkling, reflecting, flashing, and is absorbed through our heart minds. And it feels like a warm embrace that never ends. And then comes well-being, gratitude, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, massive prosperity, massive abundance. And we discover that all of this is a reflection of the gods that we are in these bodies. Now, at the top of the column, we designed it so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, as it's doing now, infinity and beyond. What is the golden ocean? It is the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest, purest, eternal love. And it's flooding, permeating, saturating everything on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. All life, the highest supreme value in the universe. No escape from it. we're drops of this golden ocean. We also hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean is the drops of the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. Now we see our meditative sphere at set center circle. We all created this sphere over 4 years ago. It holds nearly 1,900 of our meditations in perpetual motion. Now all these meditations, delivered by hundreds of millions of us on and off world, for the liberation of this planet, on it, in it, above and below it. The end of the lower dark matter, survived matter frequencies, as we know them. Now, if you were to look, you could tap into this anytime, and they continue to increase, intensify, and expand and grow. So, you were to look through your heart minds at this and see the big picture. You would see that the surface of the planet, and you would see this almost vaporizing, the blackest of the blackest goop that you can see is leaving the planet all over the place. And it's going up. It almost looks like it's being vacuumed, okay? And you watch it, and as it goes up and you look up to the sky, you see this brilliant white, almost like a firelight with some tinges of pink and gold. And you watch this dark matter go up, and as you watch it go up, it absolutely vanishes when it hits this light, this white light, with tinges of gold and pink. And you're watching it happening all over the planet, because wherever it's going up is this light. Totally vaporizing. There's no trace of it. It is no more. It's absolutely spectacular when you watch this in total peace, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, and the deepest of gratitude, through the heart mind. Now you can tap into that sitting quietly and peacefully paves a direct path to the greatest awakening. It is this extremely simple and effortless task that attains such miraculous results. It isn't complicated. It isn't rocket science. Sitting quietly and peacefully paves a direct path to the greatest awakening. It is this extremely simple and effortless task that attains such miraculous results. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy breath, slowly and easily in through the nose, and an easy breath slowly and easily out the mouth. Be still. All day today, practice holding your focus on what you want. Remain fixed on the ideal of it for at least 30 seconds in a row. See if you can actually do this. The ability to maintain your focus on one thing is what makes you a shepherd instead of one of the sheep. The world offers itself for you to enjoy freely when you are able to control your mind. You can create anything you set and hold your mind steadfast upon. Remember to breathe and gently ask your mind to relax and be still. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.